Attention, please. The show starts in 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go.
The following content contains adult language and humor that is not suitable for viewers under the age of 18. Viewer discretion is strongly advised. The views and opinions expressed during the following video content are those of the individual and may not reflect those of others. Thank you. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, and welcome, one and all, to this edition of Pacific414 Pop Talk, coming to you live on the Pacific414 YouTube channel, the Pacific414 Rumble channel, and also the Pacific414 X feed. Tonight, I do have several articles that I'll be talking about during this edition of Pop Talk, and in case you're wondering where Cash and Baron are, well, Baron is currently dealing with a chest cold, so that's why he's not here tonight. And Cash is still dealing with some side effects from his kidney stones the other day. So it's back to how Pop Talk started off back in August of 2022, and well, yeah, you got me tonight, just me. Now, I did send out a couple of invites to a couple of people to see if maybe they wanted to come on, if they, one, had the time, two, because they're like me and so many others here on the eastern side of the United States dealing with the winter storm, if they had power. So if they're able to make it, cool. If they're not able to make it, that's okay. It's been a while since I've done a solo edition of Pop Talk, and I haven't forgotten how to do a solo edition of Pop Talk. So in other words, it's all under control. But we do have some articles that we are going to discuss this evening, and one of those articles actually comes from Fandom Pulse, and it's about Warhammer owner Games Workshop attempting to shut down John Del Arraz's Space Marine comic. It's actually a follow-up to a story that we talked about a few months back, and one of the things that Baron Cash and myself had said at the time when we saw panels from this comic was that this author, this comic book artist, needs to be careful because he could be infringing on copyright. So we'll definitely get into that story. And one of the other stories that we will talk about is related to our new current president, but more specifically to Mark Hamill. And how Mark Hamill announced that he would protest Trump's inauguration by quitting social media, but he did an about face shortly afterwards. What a surprise. Not. And then another article we are going to talk about, and it's going to be the main article because I'm not going to go as long as we normally do here on Pop Talk when we have the 2 hours on both YouTube and Rumble, and also X, and then we switch to the third hour for just Rumble. But the main article for tonight will be from that Park Place and how the gaming industry is hoping that the GTA 6 price opens up the floodgate for $100 base games. How many of you are willing to spend $100 just for one game? We will definitely get into that article, but first, let me see who's arrived in the chat. And right now, we have Jet Sparks 373 over on the YouTube side who says greetings. Greetings to you, Jet Sparks. Good to see you. I'm glad you were able to join us in the chat Monday for the inauguration stream. And we also have the Padawannabe. And the Padawannabe is saying, well, at least I can watch this one this time. I hope you two are doing well this evening. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. So let's go ahead and get into our first article here. And the first article is going to be about Games Workshop attempting to shut down the Space Marine comic, the unauthorized Space Marine comic. So here we go. And let me just get this to full screen here for everybody. So this first article, again, comes from Fandom Pulse. It's by John F. Trent. It was posted on Fandom Pulse's website on January 18th. And there you see the headline. So let's get into the meat and potatoes of this whole situation. And real quick, Jet Spark says Mark Hamill should lay off social media for like the rest of his life. Just saying, because I'm pretty sure all this Trump derangement syndrome is probably wearing him down. Oh, it's wearing him down. It's wearing a lot of people down since Trump was inaugurated just this past Monday, and especially with the executive orders that he was signing. And just some 6 hours into him being sworn in as the 47th president of these United States. So, this article says Games Workshop, the company that owns Warhammer, is attempting to shut down John Del Arraz's Space Marine comic, claiming he is infringing on the company's trademark. In a post to X, Del Arraz, the co-owner and founder of Fandom Pulse, shared an email sent to crowdfunding website Fund My Comic, demanding Del Arraz's The Emerald Array comic be removed from its website. Del Arraz wrote, Games Workshop is demanding Fund My Comic to take down my Space Marine book. The Emerald Array Space Marine is a genre on Amazon Books, and they didn't even create it. It was coined author Bob Olson in a 1932 short story. He added, this is anti-competitive harassment. So we got his side of the story, at least part of it, not the full picture. And it's good to see Prismatics. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're feeling good. Hope everyone's feeling good on this Wednesday. Good to see you, brother. All right, so the article continues by saying, as seen in the attached image to the post on X, the email states, please find below a notice of trademark infringement for material available through your service. Please let me know if you require any further information. Thank you. It then states, I am duly authorized a duly authorized representative of the exclusive rights holder Games Workshop Limited, which owns trademarks in the follow: Games Workshop Limited, genuine models, merchandise, and publication, which can be found at the following sites. It lists off Warhammer.com, merch.warhammer.com, and blacklibrary.com. Next, it claims the U.S. Trade, Space Marine, and cites U.S. registry number 2100767 and claims that the Emerald Array comic violates this trademark. These exclusive rights are being violated by material above upon your site. From there, the email demands, I hereby request that you remove or disable access to this material as it appears on your service in as expedient a fashion as possible. Legal notices, folks. Notes, multiple authors outside of Games Workshop and its Warhammer 40k IP write Space Marine stories. In fact, there is an entire Space Marine section on Amazon that includes books by Jan Chaney, M.R. Forbes, Virgil Knightley, Toby Neighbors, and others. And there's a screenshot of those books right here, too. So let's... Yeah, all those books that you can find on Amazon by other authors, writing stories inspired by the Warhammer universe. And it's good to see Low Spec Linux Gaming. Good to see you, brother. Hope you're doing well on this Wednesday. All right, so let's continue with this, shall we? Furthermore, there are a number of books that have Space Marine in the title. Raconteur Press Anthologies published Space Marines 3 in February 2024. And Space Marines 3, and doesn't that kind of remind you of Master Chief from Halo? Oh, well, let me get that menu back because I accidentally closed it. I apologize about that. So let me just get it back up here. 1 second as I grab that article again, and we will continue where we left off. I know Cash and Baron are watching right now and saying, "Oh, you see that, folks? You see that? We're not there," and he already takes away an article from you guys. See. All right, so let's go ahead and continue on this article once I have it shared. And let's get back to where we were. I apologize about that, folks. But anyways, Space Marines 3. This looks an awful lot like Halo. Even this one looks an awful lot like Halo to me. I don't know about you guys, but go ahead and comment in the chat and let me know your thoughts on what I've given you so far. And it also says, regarding the specific trademark cited by Games Workshop, the United States Patent and Trademark Office notes the trademark is for video computer games, computer software for playing games. So if that's the case, and if I'm understanding it correctly, then they really don't have a case, since it doesn't specify under books. Correct me if I'm wrong, but that's how I'm interpreting it. It goes on to say, my Comics founder and operator Luke Stone informed Delaroz via email that he has no plans to remove the comic or graphic novel from the site. He told Delaroz, at this time, the campaign will remain active on our platform. Our preliminary evaluation indicates that while the campaign may contain derivative works, it does not appear to infringe on any trademarks owned by the requesting party. Yes, because it's not under video game software. He did add, please be advised that Fun My Comic legal team is currently conducting a thorough review of their claims to assess the validity of the request and determine an appropriate response. Well, maybe they'll rule in Del Rosa's favor. You never know. So it does ask here at the end, what do you make of Games Workshop attempt to deplatform De La Rosa's The Emerald Array comic through a trademark that is for video games and computer software for playing games? I don't think they have a case. I really don't believe that they have a case, especially since the trademark, as it was stated in this article, as it was stated at the end of this article, is under video games. It's not under published works, as in books. So I really don't think they have a case. Now, it'll still be interesting to find out down the road if this actually does still indeed go to court. I don't know all the legal hurdles that might be involved as far as taking this case even further into court, considering that trademark isn't even under works of being a published book. I really don't know, but I'm curious to know what everyone else has to say. Jet Sparks, Low Spec, Prismatics, Padawannabe, anyone who might be lurking, whether you're on YouTube, Rumble, or X, let me know what you think. You know, I can't say it enough. I don't think games work the case, especially when you come down here. Let me go down to it, and you see what it's under the U.S. Patent Office. I really don't think they have a case. Yeah, I mean, it gives you the serial number, the registration number, and it even tells you what it's filed under. Yeah, look, video computer games, computer software for playing games. It's not under published works. So let's see what everybody has to say. Padawannabe says, plus we're looking at artist renders on the book covers. I find it hard to infringe on this with written word. Yeah, I do too. I do too. I mean, you've got this, and let me scroll up again. And, this is some of the artwork from De La Rosa's book. But let's scroll up here again. I mean, you see this. This is a screenshot from A Space Marines 3 by Nick Nerthy. And, I mean, do they have a case? Do they, Games Workshop, have a case? I don't believe they do. And hopefully Fun My Comics legal team comes back and says, you don't have a case. Therefore, we are keeping De La Rosa's works up here. And, you can go pound sand. But you look at here. All these Space Marine inspired books that are still being sold and still readily available on Amazon. Now, I know if Cash and Baron were here, especially Baron, being more knowledgeable in Warhammer lore than even myself, even though I have learned some things from Baron. I'm sure Baron would have quite the insight to say about this, but after looking at some of this evidence here, I don't think that Games Workshop has a leg to stand on as far as this case is concerned. And Padawannabe also says this looks just as much as Halo as the other Space Marines from 40K World. Exactly. Exactly. So it looks like, as far as I'm concerned, Games Workshop doesn't have a case, but just because I say it doesn't mean the legal teams on Fund My Comic are going to see it the same way, or even Games Workshop legal team is going to see it the same way, since they are bringing this case to De La Roz, telling him to shut down his comic. So, yeah, I don't know what else to say. I really don't have anything else to say about this, but the fact that, in my opinion, Games Workshop doesn't have a leg to stand on, but you know what they say about opinions. So I'll still read your guys' comments related to this article, but we'll go ahead and move on to our next article here shortly. And let me just remove that from the screen and get ready to switch to our next topic. All right, so everybody's favorite Jedi, Mark Hamill, threatens to remove his social media presence in protest to our 47th president of the United States. Whether you voted for him or not, whether you like him or not, he is the 47th president of these United States, and he will remain the 47th president of these United States for the next 4 years. And the Padawannabe says, and weren't the Starship Troopers technically Space Marines? Yes. Yes, you had their naval division in Starship Troopers, but you also had their quote unquote Space Marines. The Roughnecks who went down to the planets and they battled the bugs. So, yeah. So, Mark Hamill. And I know, I forgot one crucial thing. Putting the links to the articles into the chat for everybody to read at their own leisure. But we will definitely talk about Mark Hamill. Mark. Yeah, you still cry. You still don't like the fact that Donald John Trump is your 25th president. Your 47th, not your 25th, but your 47th president of these United States. And you're going to be like the rest of the world with TDS, and you're going to moan and bitch about it. So let's go ahead and get into this next article from Fandom Pulse. And it's by Fandom Pulse. It was posted on Monday, January 20th. And it says Mark Hamill announces he will protest Trump's inauguration by quitting social media for 1 week, then post again 8 hours later. And let's see what Padawannabe has to say here. To all these ultimatum media promises, I simply say, I dare you to do what you say you're going to do. Yeah. I dare you. I dare you. No, let's see if you have the cojones to do it. So, this article from Phantom Pulse by Phantom Pulse says Star Wars actor Mark Hamill has been one of the most Trump deranged of all celebrities, and now he claimed to be quitting social media for the next week to protest Trump's inauguration, and then came back online within hours in a show of his weak will. During the election, Mark Hamill posted such deranged content about Donald Trump that it appeared to many he was working for the Biden or Harris campaign as a paid contributor. Well, I mean, who could forget? And you see it down here the day he showed up in the White House press room, pretty much endorsing Biden Harris. And it goes on to say first, Mark Hamill became the poster child for the first Joe Biden campaign as he infamously went to the White House to announce he considered Biden to be Obi-Wan Kenobi. In one of the saddest moments in political history since Hillary Clinton announced Pokemon Go to the polls in her campaign in 2016. Let's get rid of this. Once the campaign drew to its climax, Mark Hamill started making bizarre posts about Trump's penis size as he showed he had no class and nothing was out of bounds for the former Star Wars actor. Oh, he's deranged like a lot of them. Yep. And this is a famous hot dog restaurant in Chicago, Vienna Beef. And of course, there you see Mark Hamill looking like a tool. After the election, however, Hamill followed the trend of many Hollywood celebrities blaming X for the election of Donald Trump and Elon Musk by proxy, and he virtue signaled by saying he was going to leave X for Blue Skies, saying, "Now that I've fled Leon's site for bluer skies, I'm sure I'll be called an XX, but personally, I'll always consider myself a Twitter quitter." And let's see what Prismatics has to say here. Laugh my ass off. Mark Hamill is such a. Yeah, he is. He is. And Jet Sparks says, "Oh, can you feel the cringe tonight?" Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. Well, I mean, let's face it, all these celebrities, even politicians, both Democrat and Rhino, with the way they've been acting, you can definitely feel it tonight, guys and gals. But let me just get this article shared over to the Rumble side, and then I'll continue on. And, Barrett and Cash will probably say, "Don't get used to this, Mike. We'll be back." Don't worry, I'm not getting used to it. Just, you know, it's been a while since I've done a solo pop talk show of any kind. It's actually pretty fun. But no, Phil, it doesn't mean that Cash and Baron won't be here anymore. They'll be back. They'll be back. Yeah. Okay, so let's get back to where we were. Now that I've fled Leon's, he's a quitter. He's a quitter of Twitter. And it goes on to say after he announced this quitting of Twitter, Hamill showed he had no willpower to remain that way, posting within hours to his account, though he eventually did drop the site, having not posted as of this writing since November 6th, 2024. I wonder why. Could it be that we've got somebody in the White House that's going to go in there and he's going to kick some ass? He's going to knock the door down. I don't know. I really don't know. And it's good to see DJ Ronnie G. Good to see you tonight, brother. So it goes on to say yesterday, however, Mark Hamill announced he would be making a new pointless protest on Blue Sky where he has significantly less followers and interaction. He said from midnight tonight until next Saturday morning, there's no TV, no internet, no social media, no nothing for me. Symbolic protest is better than none at all. 5 day blackout, which he posted along with an all black image. Oh, what a tool. The guy's a tool. If he wasn't sad enough in posting this, a mere 8 hours later, he broke his own social media promise of a symbolic protest by posting, making some ridiculous claim about justice is coming eventually. Martin Luther King Day 2025. He posted this with an image with a quote from Martin Luther King Jr. that said, "Quietly endure, silently suffer, and patiently wait." Well, I think the United States patiently waited until election night and spoke for the candidate that they wanted. The American people voted the way they wanted. Yes, that's right. DJ Roddy G in the house. And Jet Spark says, I should have said the Dune Sea on Tatooine. It's okay. I know if Baron were here, Baron, I'm doing this because of you. Fuck you, Mark Hamill. Just fuck you. All right, so it says it's both ironic that Hamill posts asking to silently suffer as he breaks his own vow of silence on social media within hours of claiming he was going to do it. Well, of course, he can quickly make the threats, but he won't hold up to it. On top of that, social media irony with the amount of pardons Joe Biden issued to people who haven't been accused of crimes, such as Dr. Anthony Fauci. Talking about justice is a bizarre take as well. Yeah, I'm sure all of you are aware of all the last minute pardons, the preemptive pardons that Biden was giving before he officially left office. Yeah, you can't tell me there's not a cover up. One of his followers immediately falsely claimed the 2024 election was rigged and stolen, saying, "We all heard that guy admit out loud on stage twice yesterday that they cheated in the election, rigged it. We all heard that, correct?" No, he was referring to the 2020 election, you dipshit. It goes on to say many might consider this election denialism to be a threat to democracy that Mark Hamill is encouraging by ranting about justice on a day like today. Fandom Pulse strongly disavows the questioning of free and fair elections like the one in 2024. What do you think of Mark Hamill's inability to keep his own social media fast? Well, he's like the rest of Hollywood. You know, the ones who say, "Oh, well, if Trump's elected, I'm moving to Canada. I'm moving here. I'm moving there." Yeah, maybe a few have actually done it, but the majority of them, it's an empty threat. It's an empty promise. They're not leaving. And just like Mark Hamill here, no, he can't stay away from social media. He has to be in the spotlight in some way, shape, or form. He has to let the whole world know that he has Trump derangement syndrome. We already know it, Mark. Even after Biden was elected as president, everybody who had TDS still continue to have TDS. Everybody who's been doing all these freak out videos since the election shows how deep their TDS is. And that's probably not going away anytime soon. Hate to say it, but it probably isn't. And let's see. Jet Spark says that innuendo I made was a bit much. Oh, don't worry about it, Jet. Don't worry about it. Because your innuendo is nothing compared to Mark Hamill and everyone else who's been losing their shit about Donald Trump since he got elected in 2016. And like I said, even after Biden won in 2020, they were still going on and on about Trump. And then, of course, freaking out when Trump announced that he was running for re-election. So, yeah, fuck you, Mark Hamill. You know, little cunt. I know some people don't like that word, but he's a cunt. All right, so moving on to our next article, I am looking to see if anyone else has any comments to make. If you have any comments to make, go ahead and make them. And if you haven't done so already, make sure you hit that like button, share out the stream, whether you're watching on Rumble or YouTube. Make sure to hit that like button because right now I only see 2 likes, and we got 6 people watching. Come on, hit that like button. Yeah, you guys are probably going, oh boy, Mike's fired up tonight. Yes, I am. Yes, I am. All right, so how many of you have heard about the French woman who was scammed out of money by someone claiming to be Brad Pitt? Well, apparently the actor has responded to this scam, and we're going to go ahead and read about it right now. So let me go ahead and share out the link. And then we will start reading the article. And let's make sure that everybody on X gets the link as well. All right, so here we go with our next article in just a few short seconds. Okay, let's see. It's in the comics real quick, if there are any. And DJ says I. All right, so we have this article by Billy Adori on Bounding in the Comics, and it says Brad Pitt responds after French woman scammed out of 850,000 by catfisher using AI images of Deadpool 2 actor. This is an important reminder to not respond to unsolicited online outreach. That is true. This is a warning to everybody. I mean, I even know a few people were scammed recently on X. So let's get into this article. Broke would be the wrong word to use on Brad Pitt, seeing as he is filming F1, his most expensive film ever, budgeted at $300 million. However, he has now been forced to warn fans after a 53-year-old French woman who wasn't any the wiser sent a scammer nearly $1 million, thinking she was paying for desperately needed cancer treatment. The story broke on the French network TF1, where the woman, identified only as Anne, confessed to having lost $850,000 to the catfishing scheme. According to the French network BFM TV, the scam started in February 2023 when the woman was contacted on Instagram by someone claiming to be Brad Pitt's mother, Jane Etta Pitt, saying she thought she would be great for her son. And then it goes on to say, and then married to a millionaire husband, 19 years her senior, quickly fell in love with Brad Pitt, in quotes, who won her over with his charming texts and poems. There are so few men who write you this kind of thing. I like the man I was talking to. He knew how to talk to women. It was always very well done, she told. Sept who I don't know, I'm probably mispronouncing that. And an interior designer who was new to social media didn't smell a rat when the scammer always avoided her phone calls and resurfaced with AI generated videos. She didn't even figure out that Pitt doesn't have a single verified account on any social media platform. The scam peaked when Anne confessed to the scammer that she had secured a 775,000 payout in a divorce settlement from her husband in 2023. The scammer used AI images and videos to convince her that he had kidney cancer and needed a loan to pay medical bills since his accounts were frozen as a result of Pitt's then ongoing divorce dispute with Angelina Jolie. Goes on to say, it hurt me to do it, but I told myself that I might save a man's life. And said her story, coupled with the starkly fake looking AI images of Brad Pitt, quickly went viral, leading to TF1 removing her interview from the channel. However, the woman's story has since made headlines on both sides of the Atlantic, forcing Brad Pitt to respond to her plight. It's awful that scammers take advantage of fans, strong connection with celebrities, but this is an important reminder to not respond to unsolicited online outreach, especially from actors who have no social media presence. Pitt spokesman told E! News on January 15th. Goes on to say, Anne wasn't the only victim of a catfish scheme using Brad Pitt's image in 2024. In September, police in Spain arrested a gang of five that extorted 320,000 from a woman while posing as the actor. The scammers met the woman on the website dedicated to Pitt's fans and fooled them into thinking they're in relationships with him and that he was offering them investment opportunities. In her case, Anne, who had to be hospitalized after suffering severe depression, only realized she had been duped when images of Brad Pitt and his new girlfriend, Inez de Roman, emerged in late 2024. And there's one of the images right there. I ask myself why they chose me to do such harm like this, she lamented. I've never harmed anyone. These people deserve hell. We need to find those scammers. I beg you, please help me find them. Anne's case is currently under investigation by French authorities. She said in the interview that the scam left her broke, forcing her to move in with a friend. My whole life is a small room with some boxes. That's all I have left, she said, and also confesses to becoming suicidal as a result of the depression caused by the scam, and has since become the victim of online abuse, according to the BBC, as her experience has become a sensation in France. Well, nobody should have to suffer online abuse, especially after getting duped in a scam, because let's face it, it could even happen to any of us who are well aware that scams are possible. Anybody could be a victim of a scam. You could get a message from somebody and it seems legit, and then after a while, you you realize that you are duped. You realize you were had, that you were taken advantage of. So I'm not gonna be on here and act like, well, it's not gonna happen to me. No, it can happen to any of us. So it does end here by saying TF1 confirmed that they removed her interview as a result of abuse, as they should have. Because again, when it comes to being scammed, any of us can be scammed. We can get a telephone call for whatever. It could be our cable company, it could be our phone company, it could be supposedly from our bank, and we can get scammed. Nobody's safe. And let's see what folks are saying. Yeah, and Jet Sparks, you're absolutely right. He's surprised if this is worse than the Nigerian prince scam emails. Yeah. Also says, but of course, the woman was so infatuated with a celebrity reaching out to her, she did it in compliance, really shows the true, yeah, parasocialism of our society. Yeah. Yeah. People can be duped. Any of us could be duped. I could be duped. Jed Sparks could be duped. Patawannabe could be duped. DJ Ronnie G, Prismatics, anybody. Any of us. And Patawannabe says, I don't get it. Our parents told us don't believe everything you read. Now, if it comes with a picture or a photo, they believe it. That's true because even AI images have gotten better. Now, granted, for some people, they have such a keen eye where they can tell, this isn't even a real photo. This is AI. You can tell by looking at the eyes sometimes how they're crossed, or even looking at the hands, for example. And let's see what DJ is saying as well. He says people might start losing their mental faculties earlier than expected. True, true. All the damage that a scammer can do to one's life. I mean, this woman, she suffered a divorce. She lost money. She lost over $1 million. Or this lady wasn't bright to begin with, maybe. I mean, you could say that, but maybe she got caught up, and obviously she did get caught up in the fact that, oh my gosh, it's a celebrity reaching out to me. It's really a celebrity, yeah. I mean, heck, I remember I posted in Facebook when I actually used Facebook on a Star Trek group, and what my post was about was, just my favorite episodes of Deep Space Nine, and just how much I liked Andrew Robinson's performance as Garrick. Well, a few years ago, I get a response to that post from someone claiming to be Andrew Robinson. No, I didn't reply to it because my thinking was, how do I know this is actually Andrew Robinson? I don't. I have no proof that this person is who they're claiming to be. But that's because I was looking at it from a perspective of, I don't know who this person is. And not everybody has that wherewithal. And let's see what DJ is saying here. Millionaire married. Yeah, married a millionaire. She was probably hot at one time. Yeah, yeah, that young trophy wife. I know some people may not like that term, but that's what she was to the millionaire, probably. This young, hot trophy wife. And being hot often means one doesn't have to be smart to marry a millionaire, unfortunately. And it can happen both ways. You know, Madonna and her boy toy that she currently has. And DJ, that's fine. We all have our hypothesis. We all have our way of looking at it, our points of view. And Jet Spark says that wouldn't be unfounded, but that social Darwinism for you, yeah, it is. And Patawannabe says some people are that lonely, and just the possibility of it being true pushes them over. Yeah. Yeah. I mean, think about how many times you hear about a senior citizen getting scammed out of their retirement, how often that happens. Because again, a lot of these seniors are lonely. They're widows, they're widowers, and they may not even have a family. Let's see what else is being said. I agree, Jet. I'm just saying that to appease the fact that checkerboard, yeah, yeah, yeah. And let's see. I mean, UPS has a package for you. Yeah, yeah. How many of you? Just what Padawan is bringing up. How many of you have ever received a text message that is supposedly from UPS or the United States Postal Service saying there's a package in the warehouse for you? They need you to verify a few things, or you get a text from Amazon about a package or even a payment. And I'll admit, anytime I get those types of text messages, I immediately block the number and delete it. Heck, even telephone calls that you receive. How many of us get the constant scam telephone calls constantly every day? You know what I do? Anytime I get them, I don't even pick up the phone. I just delete it. And DJ says we can be duped, but not by fake Brad Pitt. Yeah, yeah. Because let's face it, there are evil people in the world. They do not care whose lives they destroy. They do not care if they take all your life savings. They're in it for themselves. And what that is nefarious purposes. I mean, any of us could fall for a scam. Any of us. None of us are perfect. I'm not perfect. Yeah, yeah. That's what it's come down to. You see the phone call, you delete it, you ignore it. You have to anymore. You have to protect yourself because no one else is going to protect you. Absolutely no one. So, with that article being done, let's go ahead and move on to what's what's going to be our last article. Again, not going as long as normal tonight. Now, if I had Baron and Cash here, yeah, we would be going longer. We would be doing the Rumble side only. But since it's just myself, we're just going to go just a little over an hour. So let's go ahead and move on to our final article here. There was another article I was thinking about talking about tonight, but because I'm not really a big Game of Thrones fan. I'm not even a fan of George R.R. Martin. I'm not going to talk about it. So let's go ahead and move on to the final article. All right, so let me enlarge this. And just a few things related to that last article. I know someone who just recently went somewhere to meet a WWE diva. Yeah. Yeah, well, if I'm going to meet a former WWE diva, current WWE diva, any wrestling superstar in particular, I'm going to go to a convention that they're appearing at. I'm not going to go to some random city in some random place to meet them. No, it's going to be at a convention. And Jet Sparks says, I get more junk emails, texts, and spam calls than I get from my own family members. Yeah, yeah, you do. And one of the reasons why, regardless of how careful you are with your information's still out there. They're still able to get it. Nobody's information is safe. So we have our final article here, and this final article is from Bounding into Comics. Well, former Bounding into Comics staff writer John F. Trent, who is now part of that Park Place. So let's go ahead and get this shared out. And then we will start reading the article. All right, so I'm sorry, I said John F. Trent. It's by M. Montanero. That's my bad. I made a mistake. Gaming industry hopes GTA 6 price opens the floodgates for $100 base games. Is this the end of affordable gaming? It is if it actually goes through. How many of us want to pay $70 for a game now? Because that's the new asking price for new games. It used to be $39.99. Then it went up to $49.99. Then it went up to $59.99. And now it's $69.99. Who wants to pay $100 for just one game? I know myself. If I'm going to buy a game and spend $100, well, one, it's going to be multiple games, and I've purchased those games on sale. That's the only time I'm doing it. If I'm spending $100, it's going to be on my utilities and putting it toward groceries and stuff like that. Not that $100 even pays for groceries anymore. So, this article says a video game analyst has noted that there's some hope within the gaming industry that the price of GTA 6 could skyrocket to $100. I mean, imagine that. Imagine that. They're hoping it gets to $100. They're hoping it gets to $100 when they're going to shove DEI bullshit into the game. They're not even going to be focused on the gaming experience, making sure that the gaming experience is enjoyable for everybody when they're only focused on DEI. Yep, and that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying. You know, everybody who does their weekly shopping spends more than 100, especially if you have a big family. Even if you're by yourself, you may end up spending $100 depending on what you need to buy. And Judd Sparks says, this is the kind of stuff that is kind of turning me off from wanting to play games moving forward. Well, not only is it turning people off, turning you off from wanting to play games moving forward, but it'll also possibly make it to where people may still want to play the new game, but they're not going to play it on release date. They're going to wait until it goes on sale. But even when it goes on sale, there's no guarantee it's going to be on sale for an affordable price. Yeah, it is a big yikes. I'm not spending $100 on a game. I don't even like spending $70 on a game. I don't. Even if I have a gift card that I can put toward the game, I still don't want to spend $70. Now, have I spent $70 on a game? Yes, I have. Last year when I bought Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, and then I also bought Stellar Blade. Both of those games were $70. But it wasn't something I wanted to do on a frequent basis. Heck, even Jedi Survivor wasn't worth $70 with all its problems it had on release date. He says $100 for a season pass type situation. You get all downloadable content on release. This much just gives me more reason to buy it back in time. I still have a 360 and 64 and Dreamcast. That's plenty. Yeah. Go back and play the old games. If you still have one of the old consoles and they work, play them. $70 is already asking too much. Plus, whatever they're charging for the online services for Xbox, PlayStation, and Nintendo. Yeah, you have all that on top of it. And then the thing is, you can pay $70 for a game, and they have to release a patch to fix all the release date glitches that the game may have. Or in the case of Stellar Blade, they release a patch because the costumes are too risky. And Padawannabe says, I'm sure as hell not going to buy $100 digital copy. No, and that's another thing. Digital copies still costing as much as the retail version of the game, the hard copy of the game, the physical copy of the game. That's ridiculous. It's digital. It should cost less. You don't have any overhead. You don't have to worry about packaging. You don't have to worry about anything that's associated with a physical copy of the game. The only thing you got to make sure that you do is you put it on an online retailer that's willing to sell it. That's just my opinion. And you know what they say about opinions. The only new game I got last year was Mario Party and Jamboree on the Switch. Yeah, not everybody can go out and afford to buy the latest and greatest game that's out there. I mean, I'd like to play Black Myth Wukong. I'm still waiting for that game to go on sale before I buy it. Even though I know from watching streams, reading reviews, that it's a good game. I'm still waiting for that game to go on sale. It's like when I bought Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Rita's Rewind. I didn't buy that at full price. I bought it on sale. I tend to buy a lot of my games when they're on sale. And JetSpark says, yeah, they always charge more for those digital deluxe editions that are like 70 a few years ago, which was already freaking ridiculous as is, but now even the base game is that much. Yeah. Yeah. If I'm gonna pay $70, if you're gonna pay $70 or even $100 for a game, give me all the DLC content that's available for that game. Don't ask me to pay $70 for the base game or $100 for the base game and then charge me an extra $25, $50, maybe even another $100 depending on how much DLC comes out for the game. On top of that, who wants to spend $200 on a game? I don't. I have better things to put that $200 toward. And I'm sure a lot of you do. I'm sure a lot of you have a lot better things to put that money toward than a video game. Heck, you could you could spend, depending on the size of your vehicle, you could spend $100 per week, or for a couple days per week for gas, depending on your vehicle and depending on where you have to commute each day. So, this article says the idea of standard video game prices jumping to $100 is being floated as a possibility thanks to the hype surrounding Grand Theft Auto 6. According to Matthew Ball's State of the Video Gaming in 2025 report, some in the gaming industry hope Take-Two Interactive will use the unprecedented excitement around Rockstar's GTA 6 to push this price increase. If successful, this could open the door for other publishers to follow suit, all under the guise of offsetting spiraling development costs. Can anybody tell me why they may have spiraling development costs for games? What has been pushed the last few years in games that isn't even focusing on the game itself? It focuses more on an agenda. Anybody? Can anybody name a company that oversees the development of the game to make sure that it has a certain quota of unnecessary bullshit in it? Can anybody? I'll wait and see what you guys say. This concept, while perhaps tempting for game publishers, could spell disaster for the industry. Oh, really? Really? Oh, really? No.
The hell you say?
Really? Could spell disaster for the gaming industry? No shit, Sherlock. Let's see what everybody else is saying. And I live alone, and at most I'm paying upwards of close to $800 every month for all my expenses, aka bills, groceries, etc. That's still a lot of money. Still a heck of a lot of money. No matter how you put it. Or is this just a way that Nintendo will set themselves apart from the competition even more and be named gaming industry king? And that depends, Padawannabe. That depends. They've already announced that the Nintendo Switch 2 is coming out. And there have already been some price points floated around as to how much the Nintendo Switch 2 could cost. I saw one when I was up late at night saying that the Nintendo Switch 2, and this is only a rumor. This is, in fact, this is only a rumor. We won't know until April 2nd when Nintendo has their direct what the Nintendo Switch 2 is going to cost. But some people were floating around the idea that the Nintendo Switch 2 could cost $500. That means, and Jet, I'm only bringing you up so you put up that figure of $800 per month. That means if Jet Sparks wanted to forego a roof over his head or food on his table, he could take $500 from his $800 that he spends per month and use it on Nintendo Switch 2. I don't think he would do that. I really don't. And I wouldn't blame him. It's better to have a roof over your head than not. And speaking of the Switch, JetSpark says the Switch 2 is going to fracture a lot of people from what I'm hearing. Yeah, yeah. I mean, if that report that I read, and I don't believe everything I read. I don't. Doesn't matter if it's in our standard news, pop culture, gaming. I don't believe everything, but if I'm going to say if the Nintendo Switch 2 is $500, how many people are willing to pay that and then possibly pay $100 for a game? So $600 for a console where you don't even know if it's going to come packed in with a game. You don't see that a lot anymore. I'm not willing to pay $600. Not when I know that I have other responsibilities, groceries, electric, mortgage, gas, and keeping my car on the road. And Jet Sparks also says, also the most recent games on PlayStation I actually pre-ordered were Horizon Forbidden West, and I didn't even finish the game. Excuse me. Because of all the woke stuff. The query. Yeah, I don't blame you. I don't blame you. Who wants to buy a product and then be preached to? I don't. That's not why I'm buying the game. I'm buying the game to be entertained for a few hours, not to be preached to. Just like when I go to a movie, I'm going to a movie to be entertained for a few hours, not to be preached to. And Prismatic says indie games are getting better and more affordable. I rather spend money on that than expensive AAA games that often have a lot of glitches, bugs, and other issues. Yeah. Yeah. One of the games I enjoyed playing this year, yeah, it was a remake, but I enjoyed playing Lollipop Chainsaw. That's a fun game. That's not from a AAA developer, that's from an independent developer. Yeah, Dustborn. I heard good things about Dustborn. And it's good to see Tim. Tim says, Hell back to you, brother. Good to see you tonight. In case you're wondering where Cash and Baron are, well, Baron has a chest cold. That's why he's not here tonight. And Cash is still dealing with side effects from his bout with kidney stones. So that's why they're not here tonight. And I'm running the show solo. And DJ Ronnie G says, Bitter Toddler Inc. Yeah. Yep. You got it. You got it. You know what company is influencing these other game companies now? You got it. And the Padawannabe says, I need to refinish GTA 4 and the 2 extra content games, then GTA 5, and play Red Dead Redemption with the zombie stuff. It'll be a while. Yeah, it will, because I have Red Dead Redemption and I haven't even finished that game yet. I haven't even gotten anywhere close to finishing that game yet. I still like the idea that the Switch is portable. That alone is worth more to me. Can't say I'll be able to get one necessarily. Yeah. That is a nice feature to be able to take the Switch on the road. Just make sure you bring the charging station with you so you can charge it up. And let's see what Tim says. Who the hell has $500 to spend on a game unit? I don't have that kind of income floating around. All my income is tied up to other things. Number one, keeping a roof over my head. Yeah, yeah. And I've dealt with them too, and they suck. They suck. I've dealt with it twice in my life. But that's why I do try to make sure I drink a lot of water now. Because when I was experiencing my first and second bout, because they happened not too far from one another, at the time I drank a lot of soda. I have really cut back on the amount of soda I drink. At most, I'll drink maybe one up to two sodas per week, if even that. Some weeks I don't even drink a soda. I can go a long period of time now without drinking a soda, unlike before. And also, I've changed my diet. I've added more vegetables to my diet, and that's also a key too. Change your diet, drinking a lot more fluids, and every day I take potassium citrate, so that's really helped too, at least for me. And let's see. It says the true cost of gaming. First, let's address the elephant in the room. Gaming isn't getting cheaper for consumers. No, it's not. It's getting expensive for all of us. We have to pick and choose what games we're going to end up buying at some point because we have one major factor. We have real life telling us, no, you got this bill coming up. You got that bill coming up. You need to put gas in the car. You have real life that you have to take care of first. Responsibilities you have to take care of first before you buy a game. Again, like I said, Mighty Morphin Power Rangers Reader's Rewind, I didn't buy that at full price. I bought it on sale. It's like, okay, it's on sale. It's on sale for a good price. I'll go ahead and buy it. I'd rather pay $29.99 for a game than $70 for a game. Seriously. And even when I bought Gotham Knights a few years ago, that was during a Christmas sale. And I'm glad I bought that game on sale. That game's not worth full price. So it goes on to say, while game developers argue that prices have remained stagnant for years, ignoring the $10 jump to $70 in 2020, this doesn't tell the full story. The real cost of gaming has skyrocketed due to microtransactions. Yeah, let's not forget those, downloadable content, subscription services, and special editions. Many gamers already spend hundreds on a single title when factoring in these add-ons. Yeah, you could spend more than 100 when it comes to the extra content. Bumping this base price to $100 would only further alienate an audience already wary of being nickel and dimed. I mean, what, do they think we have money? No, none of us are made of money. We're not. Video gaming has thrived as a medium partially because it appeals to a broad audience. Slapping $100 price tag on a game would push it out of reach for many casual players and families, potentially shrinking the player base. Yeah, do they really want to do that considering you had failures like Concord last year? Just to use one example. While industry leaders might hope to recoup costs from dedicated fans willing to pay the premium, the long-term damage to gaming's widespread casual appeal, could be severe. And it says lessons from history. Let's not forget the lessons of history. The infamous video game crash of 1983 was partly driven by the disconnect between industry greed and consumer expectations. Yes, the video game crash of 83 decimated the video game industry. The only reason it even came back was because of a company based in Japan called Nintendo releasing the Nintendo Entertainment System. It is because of that system that we're all still playing video games to this day. That is what saved the video game industry. And we've all benefited from it since. And let's see. Jet Spark says, and nowadays those console bundles are just a digital download code. Yeah, yeah. And ladies and gentlemen, I've got a co-pilot now. He hails from deep space. Please welcome DJ Ronnie G.
That is right. I am DJ Ronnie G of the Free Planets Alliance, and I am presently sitting in my Spartan fighter right now. And I did want to chime in briefly on Nintendo Switch. You said when traveling for a Switch, you suggested bringing the dock, and that's certainly a good option. And I own two docks. I got one for like $50 instead of $80 used. But here's a great alternative to that. This right over here is exactly what it looks like. It's USB-C, and it actually works on the Switch to my surprise. And you can use it on a laptop, PC, or Mac, because a lot of new MacBooks only have two USB-C ports. So this is how you get yourself some, conventional USB ports plus an HDMI monitor. So some people might, use their laptop on a desk at home and then travel with it. So you can leave one of these on a desk plugged into a wall charger. And as soon as you plug this in, you're getting electricity to your device, like be it the Nintendo or laptop. And, of course, an extra monitor. But this device is good, and this one's good too because it has an Ethernet port on it. So, now it's like if you, like when you plug in your laptop, now it's not on Wi-Fi. Now you got a hard connection. But especially, you know what? I've never tested the Ethernet port from this device on my Nintendo. But I do have an Ethernet adapter inside my dock. And, of course, I believe the new Nintendo Switch OLED also comes with an Ethernet port on its dock. But, I just want to share a couple of additional options there.
Yeah, and it's nice to have options, especially if you do travel and you want to bring the Switch with you to play a game, because that's what we used to do with the Game Boy.
Mm-hmm. Yep, agree. Yep, and that's another thing. I remember, like, the other day, a group of friends were talking about using, what do you call it? What's that shit called? Pardon my language. What is it called? The AC adapter. And, that was essential for Game Gear, not as important for Game Boy, but you see where a lot of kids who didn't have enough, money for batteries or couldn't always, get a lot of batteries, that was certainly a good option at home.
I mean, it's nice to have options.
Absolutely. But like I agree too that $500 is a bit steep. I might, still go for it, but I might defer a purchase of $500 and just say, okay, let's allocate 250 here, 250 there. But it's gotta be like, actually worth it. Like PlayStation 5, some people it's worth it because they want the better graphics, they want this and that, but they don't want to build a gaming PC. They don't want to deal with the troubleshooting. It's just not their thing to, tweak a PC, whereas a PC gaming experience for me, it's like, okay, I can usually tweak it to get better graphics, but I can also lower the quality to get better performance. Not everyone is aware of that or willing to do that,
No, and just like Tim's saying here, we're not all Rockefellers. We don't have, money flowing out of our pockets.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and I don't like this idea that like there's like, so what is this? In that article before, people were excited like in the gaming industry about the possibility of setting a new precedent when it comes to prices.
Yeah, they're excited about this potentially leading to future $100 games.
Yeah, the future people like me not buying their games. Yeah.
I mean, you're saying that Padawannabe says that he has an N64 and a Dreamcast. people are gonna play their old games. Heck, I still have PS4 games I haven't finished that I could play.
Yep, yep. That's true too. That's another thing. I got plenty. I'm a casual gamer, so I have games that I sometimes take years to work on. And some people they are much faster at playing the games, and they can get through them quick enough that it's worth it. I guess.
Yep. I mean, let's face it. We all probably have games in our library that we haven't finished yet. That this price increase will just make us go, okay, this game over here, Deadpool, it's been collecting dust. I'm gonna play it because Lord forgive me if I ever spend $100 on just one game. Like I said earlier, if I spend $100 on a game, it's gonna be multiple games and they're gonna be on sale.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's another thing. I love chasing the Steam sales, and with physical media, Loki was talking about this the other day. How like you can buy some games on physical, but then it's like a box with a code in it. I remember years ago I bought the new Battlefront 1, and that's exactly what I got in the mail was a box. Had I known that, I would have just waited to buy the freaking game digitally or just bought it online. Like not even asked to get it shipped to my house. Like why would I want to get a product key shipped to my house? Now I got to keep track of that too. But ultimately, I think some people are hardliners when it comes to physical media. I get the logic, but when it comes to a digital game library, it's really a matter of which games in your Steam library are copy protected or DRM, digital rights management. If the games are not DRM protected, then you can install the game to your Steam folder, and then that Steam folder is somewhat portable. Like you can store it on an external hard drive, or you can just outright copy it to an external drive as a secondary backup, or you can store it on a network storage drive and play the game straight off of that if you so desire. Whether or not, one's network would have the performance to be able to do that reliably is one thing, but it probably would actually work surprisingly well. But bottom line is that, like, to me, like, I'd say the ideal would be if every game was not copy protected and I could simply back up the entire library en masse, then, just have two hard drives and have one on a bookshelf and, like cold storage, as you call it. And if it ever came to it where the internet was down and I needed to have that game again and I couldn't re-download it, well, there's my download right there.
Exactly. Well, it's just like certain games that get pulled from the Steam store. Unless you actually purchase that game, you can't buy that game on Steam and download it again.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
I'll give you a perfect example. It's the War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron games. Unless you bought them on Steam, you can't re-download those games. You can't even purchase those games right now. I mean, I was grateful that I still had my physical copies of War for Cybertron and Fall of Cybertron when I streamed them.
Why did they take that game down?
Because Activision lost the license to develop any more Transformers games, but now that Activision is part of Microsoft, they've been talking about it for the last year, almost 2 years, about putting those games onto Game Pass. But until they actually do it, I won't believe it.
Yep.
And it's good to see you are wrong, my Marvel Rivals buddy, along with Fat Steven. He says people need to stand up and declare they won't spend these prices, but too many cave. Yeah, too many say, no, I got to play this game. I got to play this game. Some might even be of this mindset if they're a streamer. No, I have to stream this brand new game on day one.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true. That's how they get them. Yeah.
I've fallen into that trap before. Last year with Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. I'm thinking, yeah, I need to buy it. Well, one, I wanted to play it too. I'll admit that. I wanted to play it, but it's like, I've got to stream it. I got to stream it like everyone else is.
Mm-hmm. Is that a good game? Like, is that a game that, what I mean is, I'm pretty naive to the whole Final Fantasy franchise. Is that a game I can buy and get into without having played much of the other games, or is it something that you feel that you would enjoy more after having experienced Final Fantasy VII?
I'm going to speak from my experience. I didn't play the original Final Fantasy VII. I hadn't played a Final Fantasy VII since the first one on NES. When I played Final Fantasy VII Remake,
Mm-hmm.
and I didn't feel at the time, and I still don't feel that I needed to play the original Final Fantasy VII to get into this game because it still gave me information about the story that I need to know,
Mm-hmm.
and I enjoyed the experience. When I played Final Fantasy VII Remake, it was actually Nerporial's copy because he was doing contest on his Discord channel, and I thought, you know what, I'll go ahead and put my vote in for this particular contest for Final Fantasy VII Remake, and I ended up winning it. And I said to him, I said, I'm going to stream this, and I enjoyed the experience. I had fun with the experience. You know, getting to know this story, yes, some say, and even Cash has told me there are certain elements that have been changed from the original game to remake. But overall, not having played a Final Fantasy VII game since the NES and getting immersed into the story that I was getting into, I enjoyed it. And it's because of that experience I wanted to play Rebirth. Now, I didn't want to pay the $70, but my sister had said to me, okay, what do you want for your birthdays? I don't know. She says,
Mm-hmm.
is there a game coming out that you want? I said, you don't have to buy me a game. I can take care of that. She said, no. I never know what to get you, so let me get you something. It's like, okay, fine. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth comes out on February 27th. She says, all right, I'll give you that. I said, okay. So that's how I got my copy. And I even said to her, I said, I want to let you know that the game's $70. And I don't expect you to spend $70 on me. She says, it's your birthday. I don't know what to get you, so let me get you this and we'll call it even. I said, okay.
Yeah, that's cool. And it
Yeah.
makes it's a good gift. That's some I mean it's like but and that's things it's a good way to offset the cost. Get it as a gift. And
Yeah.
especially if it's something you enjoy, the person is certainly happy to get something that you enjoy.
I mean, my sister knows that she can always get me a book and I'll end up reading the book, either starting it that day, put it down for a while, pick it up again, pick up where I left off, or eventually down the line I'll read it. She knows that I'll do that because I've always done that. Because I don't mind getting books. Heck, you know, she's gotten me clothes before. My late mother got me clothes, of course, and a few other people have gotten me shirts. It's like, all right, thank you. Thank you. You didn't have to do that. And I had a friend one year for my birthday get me Cards Against Humanity, and it was a Star Wars edition. I said, I've never played this before. She says, well, then you can start playing it and you can learn it. I said, yeah,
Mm-hmm.
okay, sounds good. And it's good to see Anonymous. Do, 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 do. Anonymous. Do, 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 do.
Anonymous. Anonymous. Anonymous.
You can come on, Anonymous, but you don't have to worry about saving me from DJ. DJ's a DJ's a cool dude. I invited him, but anyways. All right, Anonymous, check your X account, your DMs, and I will send you the invite. And then with the both of you on I'll go ahead and go a little bit longer, and we can, only if you guys are up to it, of course, do the Rumble side, because I'm sure there's a few things you guys would like to talk about. But yeah, getting back to this story here, as I will also continue to read the comments real quick just to catch up on those. And Phil McCracken says, Anonymous, his path to Pop Talk is almost there. Baron and Cash are just dealing with various elements. Baron has a chest cold, and Cash is still dealing with his kidney stone side effects. So they'll be back. Don't worry, Phil. They'll be back. I know you probably don't want them to be back, but they'll be back. Yes, and I agree. Oh, Phil. Let's see what Euron has to say. Okay. Yeah, why is it doing this? There we go. Got rid of it. There was a pop-up that came up here in EVMux on my side. It's like, get out of here. Euron says, every Final Fantasy is its own adventure, taking place near the end of a world event, hence Final Fantasy. Yeah. And that's what helps anybody get into that particular series. Everybody has their favorite. And Padawannabe says, if you play a game for a channel, could that be a tax write-off? Unfortunately, the tax man doesn't see it that way. And how are you doing, Anonymous?
I'm peachy. And I think Go Cash is full of crap, to be honest with you. I've had kidney stones plenty. I've never been out this long. I think he's milking it.
Oh, yeah,
He's taking a vacation.
I had kidney stones too, not too far apart from each other. They were a couple months apart, and it's like, okay, yeah, I definitely need to change something. And part of that was my diet.
Yeah, Red Bull gives you kidney stones, not wings. It's false advertising.
And like I said before, I drink a lot of soda, and that gives you kidney stones.
He knows very much.
And Phil says, this looks like it could be the best Pop Talk so far. No Baron, no Cash. See, Phil has this weird fantasy that one day I'm going to say to Cash and Baron, you're fired.
You're fired. Worst Pop Talk goes host ever. You're fired.
That I'm going to come out here one day and say, yes, I fired Baron Omen Tag and I fired Cash Money 7. They were the worst co-hosts. Absolutely the worst co-host anyone could have. And that's the truth. Don't believe what the fake media say. Don't believe what they're saying. They were the absolute worst. Everybody knows it.
Yeah, that's what he's hoping for. Poor Phil. I feel sorry for you, Phil. Just the hate for Cash and Baron is just overwhelming. You just can't get over it. Yeah, you really have to maybe take a pill for that. I don't know if they make one. They may crack or something. I don't know, but just whatever. You'll be all right. You'll be all right, Phil. Cry it out.
I did talk to Cash before the show. He did say he has a doctor's appointment next week, but he hopes to be back next Wednesday on the show.
Oh, he's such a faker.
Yeah. And Baron had the chest cold. He said he didn't have a voice. I said, well, I don't want you even on the show.
Well,
for tomorrow, if you don't have a voice. If you don't have a voice, you can't talk. He said, but I wanted to be on. I wanted to come on so we can go on the Rumble side and talk about this past Monday and everything. And I said, there will be plenty of time for us to talk about it. I want you to rest.
He could be eye candy. Just put him up there. Let everybody look at him. Bring all the girls to the yard.
So he could be Pop Talk's X-ray girl.
That's right. I know he's not
I
Asian,
see where
but he's got
I
the
see where you're
beard.
going with that. Yeah.
That's all you need. He can smoke a pipe. It'd be like ASMR, he can just sit there and just puff on his pipe the whole time.
Well, he does think he looks cute all the time, so it's right up his alley.
That's right.
Team Epic Phil, yeah, shove it up your ass, Phil.
You two play nice.
I don't want to play nice. This is my sandbox. I don't want to play nice. So getting back to this article, it says, let's not forget the lessons of history. The infamous video game crash of 1983 was partly driven by a disconnect between industry greed and consumer expectations. After often called the Atari shock, the crash was a significant industry collapse in North America that led to massive financial losses for game companies, a flooded market, and the near death of the home video game market. The early 1980s economic downturn added financial strain as families cut discretionary spending, including video games. Well, you can't blame them at the time. Many game developers and console manufacturers went out of business. Even Atari, the dominant player, was split up and sold off. The Nintendo Entertainment System revitalized. Didn't I ever say that?
Mm-hmm.
The Nintendo Entertainment System revitalized gaming when it launched in 1985. Yeah, 40 years ago. 40 years ago, folks. It introduced stricter quality control through measures like the Nintendo Seal of Quality, which assured customers the games met a certain standard. Yeah, hard as fuck.
Yeah. Yeah. Have you ever played some of them games? Yeah, that's a quality I could have done without on some of those.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Dick Tracy comes to mind. Gosh, I thought that game was going to be so good, and then
Bionic Commando.
Yeah.
When you don't have like progression in the game, you get 3 lives and you have to finish the entire game with 3 lives. You know what? That was a bad design.
Or playing Contra, one hit, you're dead.
Yeah, Contra. That was I never finished that game. I got real far, but I never actually finished that game. Never finished Bionic Commando. Got close to, but
what? You never used the Konami code in Contra?
No. I mean,
Up,
later on in life,
down, left, right, BA, start.
Yeah, I didn't know it back then, man. I couldn't buy freaking magazines with codes in them.
So are you telling me you never saw the Game Pro TV show?
No.
Dang.
Dude, I live in middle of buttholes of the universe. We didn't have stuff. We didn't have all you fancy California people got. We had to do without.
I'm sorry. Don't hate me because of the region I grew up in.
Well, you had access. I had none. It's not fair.
The Dick Tracy movie is so underappreciated. It's cheesy, but great writing. Well, guess what? You're wrong. Guess what? And no, I'm not saying it because you put this in the comment.
You're wrong.
It is a watch party coming up very soon. How soon? Next Wednesday soon. Yes, we are watching Dick Tracy. And if you don't believe me, you can ask Cash and Baron because I already told them.
Yeah. That is a quintessential actual comic book style movie.
Mm-hmm.
The whole thing was laid out like a comic. I know I've seen some other movies try that or try something like that in kind of their own little style, but Dick Tracy was, I mean, it had every feel of comic book to it.
it did, and I loved Al Pacino's performance in it. And,
Yep.
Madonna wasn't too bad.
No, the sultry. Is she a villain? Is she not villain? Just um, an antagonist to Dick Tracy. Yeah, she was fine. I don't like Madonna, but yeah, from back then she was fine. She was good.
I'll bring the article back up here in a little bit, but just to show you that I'm not bullshitting anybody. Let me share my screen here.
You wouldn't do that. We're his favorite turd.
Okay, come on. Share the screen. Fine. We'll share the entire screen then. There we go. But there you go. I already got the thumbnail made.
He's rubbing you out, so to speak.
Everywhere I go, it's Tracy, Tracy, Tracy. I want Dick Tracy dead.
It's gonna be. I like the movie. It's good.
Yeah, it's a fun movie. I find it enjoyable.
Mm-hmm. And that was back before I even started reading comic books.
Well, I can remember before the movie came out, my mom, talking about it because she had seen Entertainment Tonight or one of those shows, and they were talking about it, and they interviewed Warren Beatty, and she says, "I'm going to go take you to see a movie based on a comic book that your grandfather used to read." And I was like, "What's it called?" She's all, "Dick Tracy." I'm like, "Oh, okay." So I watched it, and yes, after I watched it, I was like everybody else on Halloween, dressed up as Dick Tracy.
Yeah, I remember that movie. I really didn't follow it too closely, but my dad was familiar with it because obviously, he's old enough to read comic books back in the day, like Baron, but a little older. And well, I remember I had this like, if I vaguely remember like a noir feel to it. It's like dark feel, almost like Watchmen. And I know it's a very superficial comparison, but that's what I recall.
Yeah, very true too, DJ. And Yaron says so many of Dick Tracy's villains went on to influence other supervillains. Yeah. Yeah, it's just a shame that unlike Al Pacino and all the other actors, Warren Beatty didn't want to go through the prosthetic and have the Dick Tracy nose.
Little vein, maybe.
Yeah. Yeah. So it says the 1983 crash serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of greed, poor quality control, and oversaturating the market. It's a reminder that consumers will only tolerate so much before losing faith, a lesson that remains relevant as discussions about $100 games and rising costs dominate today's industry. A sharp price increase, especially without adding meaningful value, risks alienating gamers who may decide to spend their entertainment dollars elsewhere. Well, it probably won't be Hollywood because we're not really getting quality movies that are even worth going to see more than once, even. The gaming market history shows us that overconfidence in consumer loyalty could lead to another reckoning. Of course, the audience will decide it. As the headline says here, ultimately, gaming companies can charge whatever they want, but consumers hold the real power. They vote with their wallets. Yeah.
They never get
Look
that,
at
do they?
Concord. No, they don't. None of these companies, even Hollywood, never seem to get that we dictate whether your product succeeds or fails.
Yeah.
If Take-Two or others push standard game prices to $100, they risk significant backlash. Gamers may boycott these titles or turn to alternatives, including indie games or discounted back catalogs. Come on, Mike. To fill the void. companies betting on unwavering loyalty may find themselves sorely mistaken. Well, why should they expect loyalty when all they keep doing is handing us shit?
Yeah, I mean, there's people who will be loyal, and only because they have a deep pockets or an exorbitant amount of disposable cash, and they don't care.
Mhm.
The upper class or upper middle. I don't know, just where I don't even know where that line is anymore these days. But um, people who can drop $100 and never miss it, yeah, they'll buy your game, but it's not as many as it's not enough, right? So the vast majority of the people who want these games and like to play these games are people who work 9 to 5. They don't make a lot of money, and they just want to kick back when they get home and pick up a game and start and play it and just escape the crap that the world that they're in. And a lot of people are gonna be, it's just, they can't afford it, or it's just too rich for their blood, or they're not going to drop that kind of money. They're already complaining about $70 games. What do you think they're going to do
Mhm.
for $100 games? A lot of them are going
I,
to bow out.
I didn't know if it were my parents and I was growing up now, they'd say, "There's no way in hell I'm spending $100 on a game for you."
No, not unless it's, uh, at least a 250 hour game.
Hmm.
You're gonna. I don't want to buy a game where I can get it done in 40 hours. That cost me $100. That's not worth the money.
No, it's not. You want to get that investment, that extra added investment from the time that you're going to spend playing that game. I mean, let me ask you, because you've played it, do you feel like you're getting your money's worth and the time that you're investing into to the game with Evil West?
Yeah, I think. I mean, well, I don't know how much it was initially, but I mean, I did get it on a discount. Do you remember how much it was when it first came out? It's an older
40,
game.
$49 is what it was when it first came out.
Well, I would think, yeah, for that price, it was a quite a long game, and it had a good story. It had good action. It was the graphics were good. It was an all around pretty good game. For that. I mean, it wasn't fantastic. It wasn't like the best graphics in the world, but yeah, it was really good. So I'm going to
Hmm.
say for that price, yes. But if it was like $70 or $100, no thanks. I would have passed it up.
Yeah, I can see where you're coming from, and that's not because I've played it. Because, a game like that, you know that the studio is not the big mega studio that can afford to put in, you know, Unreal 5 engine into all their games and make sure that the graphics look to the best of qualities.
Yeah,
But what they did in that game, it's definitely worth playing the game for one, because of the way they took what they had and they used it to their full advantage.
yeah. They made a quality game with. It's like Hollywood abandoning the volume and CGI and going back and making something like Star Wars with puppets and models and matte paintings, or somebody taking and making a film like that, like they did back then, and making it higher quality than what we're getting now. It's like you made this movie for $100 million, and it probably could make $1 billion if it was something like Star Wars now. You know what I'm saying? Just
Mm-hmm.
you could do so much more with less if you tried. We did it before. The technology's there. It it's not you're not rebuilding or reinventing the wheel here, and you could do it for a lot cheaper than what you're doing now. I don't know what they're doing now and why it costs so much. I just don't get it. But you know, you can do all this stuff cheaper now. I'm sure.
Yeah, and Godzilla minus one proved
Proved
that.
that's true. Proved it without a shadow of a doubt. $15 million for a freaking movie like Godzilla Minus One. And this is Japan. Freaking America could like 10 times that movie in quality with what we have for maybe 10 million more. It doesn't make any sense.
Yeah, because I mean, you got Brad Pitt filming a movie right now that has a $300 million budget.
That doesn't make sense. Where are they putting this money? I don't get it. They have to pay off freaking politicians to get these movies made. I don't get it.
Or in some cases, they're using our money, taxpayer money, to fund these movies.
Oh, they're too big to fail, apparently.
Mhm. So the article ends up saying while GTA 6 may sell like hotcakes at nearly any price, it's not a model that can sustain the broader gaming market. $100 base price for standard editions risk alienating consumers, reducing accessibility, and sparking an industry-wide crisis of confidence. Publishers would be wise to tread carefully. History shows that audiences can and will abandon those who take them for granted. In the end, the message to the gaming industry is simple: innovate wisely and respect your audience. See, that's the problem, though. They do not respect their audience when they're relying on companies like Sweet Baby Inc. to tell them what they need to have in a game and what they don't need to have in a game. It
Mhm.
goes on to say the future of gaming depends on it. Do you think the GTA 6 price will balloon to $100? Will you continue to play games if this becomes the industry standard? Sound off in the comments. I think they will. I think they will charge $100. Maybe not for GTA 6, but eventually you will see $100 games.
No, they'll get a canary in the coal mine sort of deal going. They'll do it to a high end popular game, and they may do it with this. And then if it goes well, then yes, the rest it'll start domino effect, and they'll other companies will start charge $100 for a game, but then it won't go well. See, if you start off with something that's huge, lots of people like GTA, and you put a high price tag on it, and maybe up the content. I don't know. Um, it may sell. It may do well. Because GTA it has a big following.
It does.
But
It's built up that following, especially since GTA 3. From GTA 3 on, the next installment people have been clamoring for.
yeah,
They were clamoring for GTA 4 when that came out, then GTA 5 that we've had for years upon years. I mean, what is it now? Gosh, 12 years that we've had Grand Theft Auto 5 on various platforms?
I never played it, so I don't know. I'm not one of those fanboy. I'm not one of the fans, so it's not my game. But yeah, I understand it. It's um, people are jonesing for it, I guess, and they may charge out the butthole for it. And but
Mhm.
that's the thing. If it does go well, it will spark other companies and even that company to do it again on other games, which I predict is not going to go well.
Yeah, it only takes one company to do it for other companies to follow suit.
That's right. And in the way the gaming industry is already, um, with DEI crap and Sweet Baby Inc. and just horrible stories, horrible gameplay. Uh, they're taking it on the chin right now. They're doing it to themselves, and they're losing customers already. And if they start raising prices because with all the other people that are gone, it's just going to make it worse. I mean, talk about committing suicide.
Well, especially when you have some of these game companies saying, "Well, we don't need you." Well, fine. See you later.
Yeah, well, see, that's the part where they just can't understand that you don't tick off your money. We're the money. They, morons. We keep you in business. Who's funding you? Do you got a George Soros up there just handing you money all the time so you don't have to worry about
Yeah,
customers? Is that how it works?
it's Bill Gates opening the vault to his money bin and saying, "Here, have some cash. Develop a game."
Yeah, come take a swim in my money bin. Oh, it's a bunch of metal pieces that form a hard floor.
I'll go ahead and play that for you, brother.
That's how it's gonna work.
Ah! It's not a liquid! It's a great many pieces of solid matter that form a hard floor-like surface! Ah!
My God. A classic.
Love it.
I love it too.
The
But
properties of gold are really something else. Did you know that gold is about as heavy as lead, if not heavier?
Isn't it one molecule away from being lead?
Yeah, basically, I think probably, yeah.
It's the same density. It's soft like lead. It's almost the same.
That's like why, like in the movies, I love it when they when the Rock Johnson is dragging a duffel bag full of gold bars up someone's basement stairs. It's like that bag would get torn apart, assuming that a man could lift it.
Mm-hmm. It's not light at all.
nope, it's got some hefty weight to it. But gentlemen, is there anything you want to say before we go exclusively to Rumble?
Let's get ready to rumble. There you go.
He said it best.
No, I don't know. Game, my mode of operation is to if it costs too much, then I'm not in a giant hurry, so I'll just wait for it to come out and for like $10.
Yeah, because you wait long enough, it will be that price.
That's right. I wasn't even Evil West wasn't even on my radar, but until Cash was playing it and he wanted me to buy it, but I was like, I got that, and then I decided, I'm gonna go look and see what Jedi Survivor is priced at, and it was like $17. I was like, yeah, buddy, getting that. Let's just put that in the cart. So, and that was worth every freaking penny too, because that was a long game.
Yeah, and I told Cash about Evil West. I said, you got to play it, man. I think you're gonna have a good time with it, because I had a good time with it because Fat Steven told me about it.
Yeah. It's a quality game. It's a quality game.
Yeah. But, ladies and gentlemen, I did put the link to the Rumble side in there previously, but I'll go ahead and put it in one more time. You're more than welcome to continue on with us over on the Rumble side.
Join us, Pop Talk 414 2.0.
Yes.
With new co-host DJ Ronnie G and Anonymous.
Do 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 do.
Do, 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 do.
Whoa. Bear's going to go, what? I've been replaced?
That's right. That's what happens, man. You don't show up. Do your job. That's all you got to do is show up.
That's all you got to do, man. You just show up, man. But I do want to thank DJ, of course, first for being in the chat and joining us on the panel. He will be continuing with us over on the Rumble side, but I also want to thank Yoron for being with us on the YouTube side. Phil, thank you very much. Despite his wet dream not coming true, thank you very much. Of course, Anonymous, I appreciate you hopping in the chat. Of course, joining us here on the panel.
No problem.
The Paddle Wannabe, thank you very much. And as I scroll up here, I want to thank Jed Sparks. Thank you very much, Jed Sparks. Tim, thank you very much. And let's see. We also had Prismatics. Good to see you, Prismatics. Hope you're feeling better, brother. And let's see. Did we have anyone else? I am scrolling.
Scrolling. Keep the chat scrolling.
Everybody's favorite penguin besides Punk Waddle, Low Spec Linux Gaming, formerly known as Low Spec Linux Laptop. And that's it. So, everybody, come on. Join us on the Rumble side. This is Rumble exclusive side.
Anonymous might say a curse word. You never know.
You
Probably
never
not,
know.
but you never know.
You don't know. He might be feeling wild.
I'll repent later.
So, take care, those of you on YouTube. If you're not going to continue with us, have a good rest of your Wednesday, and I hope to see you tomorrow when I play Scroll of the